Welcome to Tally Help videos. In this video, you will understand how to use the transactions accepted as valid report in TallyPrime. In TallyPrime, you may be accepting some transactions as is, as you are convinced that the values in the transaction are correct. You may accept the transactions as is even if there is a mismatch in the GST rate, HSN or SAC code of stock items, GSTIN or UIN of a party or place of supply between transaction and master, or there is an invalid party GSTIN and other such scenarios. Subsequently, the transaction moves from the uncertain transaction section to the transactions accepted as valid report. Moreover, a transaction directly moves to the transactions accepted as valid report if you override tax values and accept without conflicts despite the mismatch in the tax values between transactions and masters. In the transactions accepted as valid report, you can view all the transactions accepted as is from a GST report or accepted without conflicts during voucher creation. You can also undo accept as is if needed. The best part is that you don't have to hunt around for such transactions. Based on the nature of transaction, you can find them in the respective returns, such as GSTR1, GSTR3B, GSTR1, reconciliation, and others. Now, let us take a scenario and see how transactions can be accepted as is. Under F11 Company Features, consider that you have provided GST rate as 18%. Thereafter, you create an invoice with a stock item for which you provided GST rate as 28% during the voucher creation. When you press Y to accept the transaction with conflicts and resolve later, your transaction appears as uncertain in GSTR1 due to mismatch in GST rate details during voucher creation. Press Alt plus G. Type or select GSTR1 and press Enter. Press F2 to change the period if needed. If you have multiple GST registrations, then by default, you view the report across all registrations. To view the report for a specific registration, press F3. Drill down to uncertain transactions, corrections needed. Drill down further to GST rate details are overridden in transaction. Select the transaction using spacebar and press Alt plus J to accept as is. Press Y to continue. As you can see, the transaction has disappeared from the section as it has moved to B2B invoices or its respective section depending on the voucher type. Now, let us see how to view transactions that are accepted as is. To view such transactions in GSTR1, click Exception Reports or press Ctrl plus J. Press Enter on transactions accepted as valid. You can drill down to the sections as needed. Mismatch between expected and modified tax amounts in transaction contains transactions in which amounts under GST tax ledgers differ from the ones calculated by TallyPrime as per the tax rates provided by you. Transactions accepted as is format contains transactions with invalid GSTIN or the absence of GSTIN of a registered party. It also contains transactions with invalid HSN or SAC or the absence of it in a stock item and other such transactions. Transactions accepted as is contains transactions with overridden HSN or SAC codes and mismatch in place of supply between transaction and master. It also contains transactions with conflicting RCM applicability between transaction and master and other such transactions. Drill down and you can see that the transaction in which you had overridden the GST rate details is available here. Now, let us see how and when to use undo accept as is. If you had accepted a transaction as is, accidentally or wrongly, and you want to make corrections, then from the report, select the transaction and click Undo Accept as is, or press Alt+J. Press Y to continue. The transaction disappears from the Transactions Accepted as Valid report and moves to the Uncertain Transactions, Corrections Needed section of GSTR1. You can view it and make the necessary changes. As you saw, the Transactions Accepted as Valid report helps you identify and view all the transactions that were accepted as is. You can also undo Accept as is if the transactions were accepted accidentally or wrongly. Thank you. To know more about TallyPrime features, visit help.tallysolutions.com.